the only thing that has given this any kind of cover, humanitarian cover, is the idea that they're going to replace Maduro with Machado, and they're going to have a free and open, fair elections. That's the only thing that could salvage this in the eyes of the world, and that's what the Democrats are pretending like it's going to happen, and what the leaders of the European countries are pretending like is going to happen. Well, actually, we're pretending. Now they're getting fucking nervous because Trump is like, yeah, you know how we just did this to Venezuela? Well, Greenland's next. Which I hope to God Trump invades Greenland and destroys NATO and severs the United States from Europe forever.
Yeah, I think that would be that would just be like the in the best interest of everybody. Like, I'm not happy about Donald Trump. I'm not a proponent of this way of doing things. But I'm not a proponent of the old way of doing things either, and I want it to end. And if this is how it ends, then okay.
I'm a proponent of Donald Trump in the way that I'm a proponent of a bull going into a China shop that I don't like. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I hate that China shop. I hope a bull goes into there. And Trump is that bull inside of the China shop, and that China shop is, the global neoliberal world order.
Right.
Now, of course, like, basically Trump is going to, it's making light of this is not necessarily the best thing to do, I guess, because people are dying as a result of Trump's fucking buffoonery. And I honestly, when I heard about the Cuban soldiers that were killed, it made me fucking ill. That makes me way more mad than anything else that happened in this raid so far. Like, kidnapping Maduro, that's terrible, and it ruined my Saturday when I heard about it. I was bummed out all day long. But then when I heard about the Cuban soldiers that were killed, it made me, that to me is heart-wrenching, heartbreaking. And it is so fucking, it's just so unjust. The idea that this tiny country that is doing their best to stave off the imperial ambitions of this blood-sucking fucking monster 90 miles off its shore, that has done everything to smother it, and is volunteering to protect an ally of theirs, are put into harm's way because this fucking evil entity that just can't help but inflict itself on its neighbors decided to go after Venezuela for no fucking reason. For no reason. And we're going to find out it's for no reason, too.
It's really so much more for no reason. It's for even less than no reason. It's like, it would be laughable if it was not also really deeply upsetting, deeply tragic.
So the initial quiet on the streets and small amounts of celebration in a few quarters gave way.
Wait, you mean the AI videos, or do you mean
yes,
or the videos of the celebration of the soccer tournament from like 2021?
Okay, so there were all kinds of AI videos that were supposedly Venezuelans cheering in the streets, and if you watch Breaking Points, they show a bunch of them that were debunked, and they pointed out how they were AI. And then of course there's like another video from a soccer game, like a soccer championship, the parade afterwards. They were pretending like that was Elon Musk reposted that one, and but I saw some other videos of a few people dancing around in the streets after Maduro was kidnapped, and I think they might have been real. I don't really know, because I saw another one that I thought was real, and it confused me at first, and I didn't find out later that until later that it was AI. But it showed American soldiers like hanging out in the streets of Caracas, partying with Venezuelans. I'm like, shit, are we occupying Caracas right now? And then it turns out it was fake once I looked into it a little bit further. But yeah, I was looking at it on my phone. When I first woke up, I didn't have my contacts in yet, and I was just like, fuck, what's going on? And then later on, I looked it up again, and it turns out it was fake. But anyway, that's
that's the nature of the times we live in, where most things you're gonna have to double check, like before you even talk about it with anybody, because it's very likely to be a fake, no matter
So
what the situation.
there are real videos that you can see are not fake of thousands upon thousands of Venezuelans protesting the violation of their sovereignty, whether or not they want Maduro back or not. They are against the United States trying to inflict its will on their country. So people are calling it pro-Maduro activists, but I mean these are just in a large part probably just people who don't want the United States to mess with their country.
Yeah.
The demonstrators say that Maduro was abducted and that Venezuela, an act of war had been perpetrated upon Venezuela in defiance of international law. And several pro-Maduro officials have spoken out saying that they support the protests and the gatherings, and they support the Venezuelan people in standing firm against the United States. And some groups are saying that they're going to remain in the streets permanently until their demands are met. And, of course, there are rebel groups, paramilitary groups, that say that they will oppose any effort by the United States to exploit Venezuelan oil or to occupy Venezuela. So that's something that we got to whenever we start talking about where the United States is going to need to go in order to get this oil that they want so bad. But yeah, I talked about how Trump has publicly indicated that he will not support Machado because she doesn't have the support or respect domestically, which is funny. Like, isn't she supposed to have won an election? But she doesn't have support. Right?
Well, yeah.
Right. But anyway, so yeah, Delcy Rodriguez has indicated she's willing to work with Trump while simultaneously indicating that she will resist coercion. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that the Venezuelans are willing to let American oil companies sign deals to come in and like take a portion of their oil, and if they upgrade the facilities and drill new wells and whatever else. Yeah, because they already had that.
Yeah, they're not excited about that at all.
No. But the Venezuelan opposition views this as a major betrayal and a huge strategic blow to their movement, which good, fuck them. Everyone says that Machado had won the election in 2024, which is really funny that like the CIA's report on Venezuela shows that she doesn't have the support of the people or the military or the government. So that she's a non-viable candidate for running the proxy state. So the proxy state doesn't get to happen. Not yet anyway, not until they do a full-scale war, which is still a possibility.
The proxy state is not very likely anyways, because the whole rest of the Bolivarian administration and the Bolivarian armed forces and the Bolivarian militias are all still in place. The only thing that's changed is that the president is currently in jail. That's it.
Right. They decided to do a coup and replace the government with the same government that was already there, but with just the person who was legally selected to be the president in case the current president was incapacitated in some way.
Yeah, this is like if J.D. Vance became the acting president of the U.S.
Yeah.
Nothing, probably, well, it's hard to say if anything would be different, but it wouldn't be fundamentally different.
I think that everyone's making a huge deal out of this now, and they're going to think it's awesome and probably make a cool movie out of it. And when I cool, I mean lame. But this is going to, in history, be a gigantic fucking nothing burger. Like everyone, no one remembers Lyndon Johnson's military incursion into the Dominican Republic that threw out an uncooperative democratically elected leader and replaced him with a right-wing dictator that was friendly to the United States. No one remembers that. even though it was a big W for Johnson against communism. They only remember him for fucking losing Vietnam.
Right.
You know? And that's what everyone's going to remember Trump for, is losing Ukraine. They're not going to remember him like
they're going to remember him for they're going to remember him for helping Russia win, because
right.
Donald Trump is secretly Vladimir Putin's boyfriend or whatever.
Well, I mean, there's a certain number of dipshit liberals that are going to remember it that way, but when the history books are written, sober-minded historians are not going to write it that way.
Well, yeah.
So let's see. I guess I could scroll through this. I have a bunch of shit here about like Machado and.
Here's a bit of foreshadowing, because I think this is going to be released before the patron Q&A is. But Ben texted, actually, the most humiliating thing for the U.S. empire would be the U.S. courts setting free Nicolas Maduro.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So. Okay, oil resources and control. So Trump has come out recently and said, like, we're going to run Venezuela and we're going to get our oil back. The United States is in charge of Venezuela now. And then Marco Rubio came out like right after that and said, what Mr. Trump meant was that absolutely nothing has changed at all, except that we have Maduro now, and we're going to force our will on them by enforcing the already existing blockade that we have against them. So essentially nothing has changed.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that they have to. I don't know. It's like I kind of like I want to give them too much credit. I think. Who? Because I feel like they have to know that this was a terrible boondoggle, which didn't change anything at all.
Well, I mean, it's like with Iran. They thought they could kill some top officials, and then it would collapse the entire structure of the government, and that there would be a revolution, and then they could fly some helicopters in to put some special forces in there to protect a newly elected interim president and take credit for it. I think that's what they thought was going to happen here, is that Maduro would get kidnapped and there would be an uprising, and the Venezuelan people would acclaim Donald Trump as the new viceroy of Venezuela. And, I mean, that still might happen. It's only been 3 days, right? But let's get into this thing about oil. So Venezuela's proven oil reserves are about 300 billion barrels, making it a pretty significant factor in the global energy market. And Trump suggests that the United States is going to go in and rehabilitate productive systems and start extracting oil for the benefit of the United States. And he says that that's the real goal here. So we don't even have to pretend that they were going in for any other reason. But it turns out that Trump didn't actually consult with any of the oil companies in advance of doing this. He immediately before the invasion, he told a few oil executives that this was going to happen, and got some kind of mealy-mouthed verbal, "Oh yeah, that's great, good job," kind of commitments from them. But now that it's happened, it turns out that nobody wants to go into Venezuela to revitalize their oil industry. There are several reasons for this. One is that Venezuela's
really expensive.
Well, Venezuela's oil infrastructure has deeply degraded over the years because they haven't had the money to put into updating it and maintaining it. The sanctions and the corruption of the Maduro regime, which since Chavez has died, the Maduro regime has really mismanaged Venezuela. That is absolutely true. And so reviving production in Venezuela will require extensive expenditure of capital. And nobody's willing to do that right now. There's a downturn in the oil market right now. Oil is cheap. There's a glut of oil. Nobody wants any more oil out right now. Nobody is willing to go sink billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars into Venezuela in order to do what? Flood the oil market? What will that do? The United States has spent the past decade building up its oil infrastructure and building up a solid exporting sector of the market, and all of that would do was just destroy the domestic oil industry. So nobody wants to do it. No American oil companies are at all excited about going in there and doing that.
So you're saying that Donald Trump is acting sort of, well, not just in this one case, but this is a really good example of Donald Trump as a kind of a fifth columnist within the U.S. empire to help undo its hegemony.
Not on purpose.
That's why it's so cool.
So, I mean, basically what Donald Trump has done here is just sort of a distilled version of what we always do. It's we win a quick military victory, and then we've got no fucking plan for doing anything with it that could be beneficial to the people that live there, or to the world, or to the United States. And in this instance, we don't even have a plan that's beneficial to Trump's cronies. Like, at least in Iraq, like all of Dick Cheney's cronies made a shitload of money off of exploiting their oil industry and rebuilding their infrastructure.
Yeah, like at least Halliburton got the no bid contracts, or to rebuild Iraq.